11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think Guerrero won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
And thanks to those joining me live and those that be joining me on the archive, the style here. Hope everyone is having a good Tuesday. This is the 27th of January. It's actually the 28th over in Australia. For those that'll be listening from over there from down under, they're upside down over there. They're upside down and in the future. You know what I mean? So shout out to them and shout out to everyone who is listening. And if you're on X, you can always go ahead and I'm not there yet. I'll be there in a second. There we go. You could come to the YouTube channel and join the chat, the whole nine. I appreciate everyone tuning in. By the way, should be an interesting show. Shouldn't be that long today, although sometimes when I say that I go too long. So let's hope not. All right. First of all, feel free to join the channel. The membership's only 99 cents. It goes a long way in supporting this channel. And I'll have some perks up and coming, starting next month for sure. And give me some ideas, as far as for members, let me know. And so much more. And also check out the new Hispanic Causing Panic t-shirts. They're in the store. You can look at them right in the bottom from the Teespring. New stuff. So make sure you check that out with the new logo, which was created by Luna to Unboxing. So I hope you guys, if you like the t-shirts, the old one actually still sells, but this is a new look, so give that a look and all that. We're going to be talking about Jai Opetia. And I want to reiterate a lot of what I've been saying about why I think he's the perfect signing. I've talked about it, but I never really focused on just making a video about it, right? And also, what I think Zuffa's mission statement, what they should be doing, what they should be trying to accomplish should be. I'll be talking a little bit about that. And of course, boxing people obsessed with UFC pay, and that's the first thing we're going to be addressing, all right? And so don't mind me as I share this. This is the one and the only. Let me make sure I'm the right. Yeah, that's it. That's right. That's right. Just like that. Right. And this is Eddie, the one and only Hearn. All right. And let's look, man. Let me make this very clear. I'm all about freedom of speech and all that, but I'm all but like so say what you want to say, but God damn it, I have the freedom of speech to say just cut it out. Like what are you doing? Come on. Let's play this. This is from the Ariel Hawani podcast. Eddie Hearn is on there, and is what he's talking about.
Recently that I disagreed with, and I'll tell you why I disagree with it. I think it was in an interview with Boxing Social. You said, I wonder if there's going to be some sort of UFC fighter revolt because they're going to start to see the purses that the Zuffa box.
Who gives a shit if there's going to be a UFC fighter revolt? I literally don't care. I just don't care. I'm not going to sit here. And by the way, I'm not throwing shade at MMA. I'm just keeping it real. I don't sit down and watch MMA all the time. So it's not going to affect me like that. So I'm not going to pretend like it does. And I'm not going to be one of those fake boxing guys that pretends to care about the pay of UFC fighters. Okay. Like they only bring that up to throw shade towards the sport of MMA. That's it. Right. They try to do it in a little slick way, but that's what they're doing. right? Like I'm just or they do it to criticize Dana White. That's all. They really don't give a shit. They don't care. I'm the guy that tells you I don't care, and I just say it to your face, though. See, that's the main difference. I just flat out tell you. Shout out to Remy. Buenos dias. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes to you as well. Good evening, brother. Mr. T, the boxing daddies are under threat. The scrotum cutters are seething, bro. They're seething like a motherfucker. Like, it's crazy. Let's listen to more of this.
Boxers are getting, right? And I'm here to tell you, as someone who sort of lives and breathes MMA, there's going to be no UFC fighter revolt.
And I don't give a shit, Ariel.
And it's not because it's not warranted. It's because they never revolt. They're the ones who are sitting here staring at a new $1.1 billion a year deal a year.
Which, like, I'm going to talk, look, why can't, now I get, I don't know if this applies to Ariel Helwani, but why can't boxing people just stay out of the business of MMA and worry about the business of boxing? Right? Worry about your own shit, bro. Right? You know what, like, business owners don't do? Worry about what another business is paying their employees, bro. Like, they don't worry about that stuff. That's not their prerogative, right? It just isn't. What in the world are we doing?
Just in the United States, and they never open their mouths. And I respect and love them all dearly, but there's just too much. There's too much sort of like scar tissue in that. If you speak up,
what's the control again, isn't it?
So there is going to be.
It's about control. It's about, like, here we go. Here's my thing. Is that all that true? I really don't know, and I just honestly, I don't care.
Revolt.
Yeah, that surprises me. I mean, look, when we talk about UFC pay and stuff.
No, it doesn't, Eddie. You're being this dude. He's such a snake, bro. That's surprising. Like, he knows damn well. He agrees with everything Ariel want to say. He knows it doesn't surprise him. All right, he knows this. I'll tell you what Eddie's intentions are here. By the way, I'll tell you in a little bit.
Stuff like that. Like, the UFC aren't doing anything wrong. That's just their mod.
So if they're not doing anything wrong, why are you talking about it?
Which I think is, don't forget, as a business, it's incredible that they can get their talent to fight at those numbers, given the revenue for the show. But that's because they've done an amazing job as a business. So they're not breaking any rules. It's not like that. They don't have to pay these people. They're never going in with a gun to someone's head saying, sign this contract now. The fighter wants to be there. And when we talk about fighter pay, like, they're going to be signing fighters that are making considerably more than the biggest UFC fight.
Does Eddie know this? No. Like, Eddie doesn't know this. Eddie's out here just saying things, right? Without any proof, bro. Like, he's just saying things, right? But it doesn't mean he's telling the truth. It doesn't mean he's like, I'm going to show you guys in a little bit why he's not telling the truth, Eddie. And either he's just ignorant or he's purposely doing it. But, when you're ignorant to something and you're giving such a strong opinion, right? Ignorance isn't an excuse anymore. Because you are inserting yourself in somebody else's business. Is what you're doing. So now being ignorant on it, it's not a good excuse. Quite frankly. But, I thought I pressed play there, by the way.
Fighters,
like
stars.
Bam was
much more than Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje are making.
Yeah.
But
is any of this true? And do I care? I don't care. I just don't.
And he's nowhere near the star that they are. on a worldwide.
But I just find it fascinating.
I mean, you have these boxing guys telling the world our fighters are nowhere near as popular and we're paying them more, and they think this is brilliant. They think this is a great strategy to grow the sport of boxing. What a great way to be a promoter, by the way, right? Hey, they're more popular than boxing and they're not making anywhere near as much. You know, I think they should be paying them more than the boxers. Yeah. This is none of my business, but I'm inserting my shit in it anyway. And I don't even know if any of it is true, by the way. I'm just talking like an idiot. I'm a boxing promoter. Yay. Like, what are we doing? It's just that this is your strategy to fight Zuffa? This is your strategy to grow the Matchroom USA brand by shedding all over the fight. Listen to this part again. All right? Listen to it.
Like Bam was
much more than Paddy Pimblett
Bam is paid more?
and Justin Gaethje are making.
Yeah.
But
and he's nowhere near the star that they are on a worldwide.
And then he said, he's nowhere near the star. We would pay him more than they pay those guys. You're the boxing promoter. Why? Like, what are we doing? This is the game plan. This is it. Your game plan, the way you're going to combat TKO boxing, coming into boxing, right? The way you're going to combat Zuffa boxing is by signaling to the UFC fighters that they need to revolt because they're bigger names and should be making more than the boxers. This is your game plan. This is the genius of Eddie Hearn. I like Eddie, but this is a dumb thing to go on an Ariel Helwani podcast, and maybe you're doing it indirectly, but you shit all over the sport. You should be finding a way to make Bam Rodriguez a superstar with all the money you pay him, right? They show us why boxing has the right model. Why is boxing doing it the correct way? Show us, Eddie. Go out and show us. Turn him into a bigger star so Ariel Helwani doesn't tell you to your face that these UFC fighters are bigger stars than one of your biggest names. Why just nod your head? Yeah, and we pay him more. Oh, genius. Brilliant. Great way to remind the networks, by the way, that don't want to sign boxing. Golden Boy can't get a network deal. Top Rank can't get a network deal. You're lucky to have one with the Zone. It's probably because you're UK fighters and what you do in the UK, not what you do in the US, and your connection with Turkey at the moment. That's it. But brilliant. What a brilliant way to signal to the networks, hey, you should pick up boxing, right? Like, what a great way by just letting everybody know that nobody even knows who the fuck Bam Rodriguez is, and you're spending all this money on him. Great way to convince the networks to sign on boxing with a shitty-ass ratings while they pay millions of dollars to fighters. Great fucking brilliant strategy. Do you guys not get what I'm saying? Is it not resonating a little bit? And you're doing this, right, in the name of trying to combat Zuffa boxing.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, but I just find it fascinating that you can have a situation where you take $11 million on the gate. Now, you talk about the value of a Paramount deal. Who knows what the allocation is to individual events? Is it 40 events?
43.
Okay, so what are you looking at per event? I don't know. Call it 25 million, 30 million. Plus endorsements on the night. You're talking about probably around $50 million worth of revenue in the pot for that show on Saturday, which, by the way, is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here's my deal. Like, here's what I don't understand with these boxing people, right? And why I have a hard time taking boxing people serious, okay? I want you guys to follow me here, okay? On one hand, you have a UFC model that has been successful, So much so that the value of the UFC has constantly increased year after year after year, right? With the model that they have. The boxing model, right, has completely failed. And it's failed fighters at large, and I will prove it to you, right? I will explain to you why anyway. It has failed. Why has it failed? Because in your model, the value has not increased. Top Rank doesn't have a deal. They're the oldest, most experienced ones. ESPN wants nothing to do with them. ESPN has toilet paper in their facilities, but not boxing. To ESPN, boxing not even worth wiping their ass with. You want cold hard truth, I'll give it to you. Right? Right now, Golden Boy, it looks like they're not going to have a network deal. PBC, are they going to renew with Amazon? They got limited dates, right? Like, what are we doing? Like, this model isn't working. We'll get to the model in a little bit, but I'm just telling you guys the facts. But the guys with the failing model are wagging their finger at the proven model, telling them, bad, that's not the way to do it. You need to pay the fighters. Well, let's see how you pay the fighters while you keep losing deals, right? Let's see how Top Rank in the long run will pay fighters when they don't have a network deal. We'll see what No Limit does when they don't have a network deal, right? And even then, they still have fighters on their undercards that pay less than Zuffa, that pay less than the UFC. Even then. Oh, you doing it wrong. You're supposed... How about you mind your own fucking business, right? And if you believe in your model, then make it fucking work and show us why it works. Instead of wagging your finger and bitching.
How much did the main event make?
We don't know.
Educate me.
Maybe if they're lucky, low seven figure, like $1 million.
What a business!
If they're lucky,
What a business!
And I'm being probably generous.
Eddie Hearn is being condescending and acting like he's praising the business of the UFC, right? He's already said there's going to be a revolt, right? He's trying to cause, I guess, in his head, some type of dissent, right? When all he's doing is making MMA fans, and given what Eddie Hearn has given to them, a nice home run, right? Giving them the right to do podcasting shows, bragging about how, even boxing promoters know that UFC fighters are more popular and do draw bigger crowds and more gate. It draws more money than boxing as a whole. Like, that's what Eddie Hearn is doing right now. And this is the promoter of fighters, right? And he's over here nodding his head away with Ariel Helwani. Okay, when Ariel says, and Bam's not even that big of a star. I mean, more people know Paddy Pimblett or whatever the fuck his name is, right? Brilliant. Like, what a great way to be a promoter of the sport of boxing.
What a business.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're generating $50 million of revenue,
yeah,
and the main event are getting $750 each or $1 million, or subject to what is actually, but all those kind of levels. What a business. Wow.
I mean, it's talk about not minding your own business, being concerned about other people's shit. Let's follow this.
Basic. I think, again, I haven't seen, by
the way, he's talking about the Zuffa boxing show is what he's talking about right here, okay? That's what Eddie is talking about right here. So, there you go.
These guys are long-term players. So
sure.
Everybody's different, right? Like, to the naked eye, it probably lacked ambition. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if you want to come out the gates hot, you want to do a big event with...
Nothing like you see, Eddie believes in ambition, right? Nothing like that, like spending $7 million or where the fuck it was, right? For Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas. What a waste of fucking money, right? All the money that it paid Mikey Garcia to lose to Sander Martin. What was it, like 3, 4, 5, 6 million? I forgot what he paid Mike Garcia, by the way. Oh, what a model that is, Eddie. Brilliant. You took a budget, right, and you gave a big chunk of it to Mikey Garcia and fights that nobody gave a fuck about, right? And then all these boxing promoters are looking around. He's not the only one, by the way. They're looking around wondering why. Well, they're busy trying to panhandle to these networks, and these networks are not giving them any money. And now what? Now a bunch of fighters are making money, right? All these major promoters don't have big network deals, which means fighters at large in boxing are not making any money. Somebody said Mikey got $7 million against Jesse Vargas. Not to mention what Jesse Vargas got. Oh, that's a brilliant business. That's the way it's done, right? The way that loses you business. The way that keeps you out of the business. Brilliant. That's just brilliant. I'm sure a 10-year-old right now is trying to make up his decision, trying to be a boxer or a UFC fighter, right? And they hear Eddie talk like this, and they see, like, you know, I wonder where their dad is going to push him to. Oh, he's going to go the boxing route because they make money like Canelo. Yeah, good luck making Canelo money. Good luck with that. Seriously. Well, you count the fighters on two hands, right? That make the tens of millions of dollars or the last 10 years, and you're really going to throw at me? Oh, they're going to go this route? Eddie is doing such a brilliant job promoting the sport of brilliant, Eddie. Just brilliant. Ambition, like what ambition? Like when you were paying Devin Haney outrageous amount of money, like more money than Teal made to fight Lomachenko, and you thought that was a great business model? You thought that would work, Eddie? And how does this even make sense? And we keep hearing over and over again about all these boxing events are losing money. Crawford fought in Los Angeles. The event bled money. All these Riyadh season boxing cards over there in Riyadh, half-empty arenas, losing money. They're not selling pay-per-view. Like, people aren't interested. Great, brilliant model. Oh, Batista, that's unfair. It was in Riyadh. Well, like, we got to judge it differently. I mean, I watch WWE events in stadiums over there in Saudi Arabia. I don't want to hear it. The sport of boxing needs to start focusing on itself. These promoters need to change some shit up, bro, because what you have now is not working. Full stop. Don't worry about what the UFC is doing and how they're paying their fighters and what they're doing with the money they're generating. Don't worry about that. Worry about you generating money. Don't worry about how big the names in UFC are, Eddie. You're a boxing promoter. Promote the boxers that you promote. Get on it, Eddie. What are we doing here? You've been promoting Bam Rodriguez. How many times has he fought in San Antonio? His hometown. How many times? You have to do it over in Phoenix, Glendale, whatever. Why? I know my guy, like Chicano Prophet, loves his fights being there because they're close, but who cares what Chicano Prophet thinks? We need to fight in Texas. That's a starting point. You should be focused on shit like that, not, the UFC. Oh my God, look at the money they make. What the fuck do you care, dude? All these boxing people, what the fuck do you care? All these UFC fighters, I can't believe if they're happy, they're happy. What the fuck do you care? I don't see UFC fighters, counting your money. I don't see any of that shit going on. Hey, Michael, let me look at a W-2. How much do you make to flip these burgers? They're only paying you $10 an hour. I don't see them doing that shit to you. So what the fuck are you worried about? Exactly. They've built up a brand, and the brand brings most of the attention to the events. You put the same two headliners on another MMA card that's not UFC, it doesn't sell anywhere near as much. That's just true. Now, is that like something that the MMA guy, Ariel Helwani, is going to point out to Eddie? No. All right?
The big crowd and make big noise. But at the same time, I don't think these people are necessarily like that. You know, I think they're looking at a 5-10 year plan for the business.
Let me tell you something, bro. If you know they're long-term thinkers, I would just shut the fuck up. So what I would do. Like if you know that, that's what I would do.
And let's get it rolling, maybe. I mean, if I did a show like that, with that card, in that kind of atmosphere, with the look, and I would be ridiculed for months.
Eddie, you put Sky Nicholson, in a fight in Mexico, and in plenty of cards, by the way, where you're paying her only like $30,000, by the way, and she's fighting in front of empty arenas, brother. Believe me, no one's ridiculing you if there's an empty arena. Okay? If I did that, like, what do you mean? What if you did? Like, what are you worried about exactly? Right? If that was me, Eddie. But that's not you. You're an established boxing promoter. Worry about the fact that Bam Rodriguez is not a big star. And it's your job as a promoter to fix that. What are you doing to fix that, Eddie? Instead of promoting your fighters like Bam Rodriguez on a show like Ariel Helwani, you're too busy being a pocket watcher of UFC fighters. Yeah, I'm just saying. All right?
But this is a new thing, and it's emerging, and it will.
It's not that new. They had a boxing card with boxing fights on it. It's not that new, bro. Like, I mean, I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
No doubt, it will get better and better and better. The broadcast I haven't really seen. I saw Max Kellerman, and but yeah, I think they've got another one on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's actually a better.
That is a very good card, actually. I'm glad Eddie mentioned that.
It's a card.
Eddie's doing a better job promoting. Watch, he's going to do a better job promoting the next Zuffa card than Bam Rodriguez. Watch.
Basic, I think these guys. I think if you want to come out the gates hot, you want to do a big event with a big crowd and make big noise. But at the same time, I don't think these people are necessarily like that. I think they're looking at a 5-10 year plan for the business, and let's get it rolling, maybe. I mean, if I did a show like that.
I mean, ain't this the truth, right? And then I'm in Arizona to watch Bam Rodriguez with Sonny Edwards, and we got all these British dudes and these fights that nobody cares about, and the arena's like mostly empty. It didn't fill up, and I'm not making this up, by the way. I was there with Chicano, but he could call me a liar. Our whole row was empty. Right? Bam's about to fight out. This cholo is sitting next to me all of a sudden, cheering for Bam. Right? Hey, Holmes. I'm like, whoa, where do you come from? And all of a sudden, the whole row was filled with the homies. You know what I mean? To watch Bam Rodriguez fight. Dude was all tatted up and shit. Right? He looked like a tatted up version of the Cholo truck. Right? Shout out to my guy. And all of a sudden, it got, now I'm not going to say sold out, but it got a little peck, and then they left, right? And then what about shit like this? Maxie Hughes against Cambozas and like, what are we doing, bro? Eddie, you just did a fight card in Australia with like 1,000 people in it. Like chill out, bro. Like, I get that's more than the Apex, but the Apex holds what, like 500 to 700? What are we doing?
With that.
Plus, I thought it was what the fighter pay anyway. Aren't you happy these guys are getting paid?
That card, in that kind of atmosphere, with the look, and I would be ridiculed for months. But
nobody would ridicule him for months for doing a fight in something like the Apex. Like, what are we doing, bro? This is self-victimizing. Like, you're better than that, bro. Come on. Give me some of that alpha male promoter energy, bro. you're like, if this is how you're gonna fight back, this is sad, right? Victimizing yourself. Oh, they're coming in. They're able to do the things that I can do. If I did that, I'll get ridiculed. And look at what they're doing over there in the UFC. And if I paid fighters that, I'll get ridiculed. And I gotta pay this much money to do like Mikey Garcia, and they don't. And if I don't, I get criticized. And what are we doing? No wonder Zuffa just coming in wrecking shop like a bull in a China shop, bro. Like, you dudes, this is all you got? This is it?
This is a new thing, and it's emerging, and it will, no doubt, it will get better and better and better. The broadcasts I haven't really seen. I saw Max Kellerman, and but yeah, I think they've got another one on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's actually a better card. It's again a lot of people that not a lot of people know, but it's actually a good card, I think.
But yeah, your cards are any better, Eddie? Because you have all these cards that you literally just said. You just look like Ariel just told you that Bam Rodriguez is not a big star. You nodded your head, bro. And you're gonna try to talk to people about who's a star and not a star. Oh, they're not really known. I mean, Rayo Valenzuela, Bochuk, Butaev, these guys were on like PBC cards. You know what I mean? Rayo beat Pitbull Cruz in a Riyadh season card. Like, I mean, like acting like you put bigger names here in America anyway, right? On fight cards and like, you see what I mean? You see what I mean?
The main event last time, from what I saw and what I've heard, wasn't.
Anytime somebody says from what I saw and what I heard, they're lying. Who says that, by the way? Hey, D-Style, did you watch the fight? Yeah. I kind of. Yeah. I mean, I heard, but I saw. But I heard. But I saw. But I heard. Like, what are we doing? I heard, I saw, I conquered. What are we doing?
The most compelling. I think the key is really the storytelling, because if you're going to use the level of fighters,
yeah, there's nothing like that Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas storyline. There's literally nothing, right? Like a good old Mikey Garcia versus Sandra Martin storyline. Oh man, that story really got to people. It really sold to people. People really gravitated towards that. Right? These storylines are really selling. They're selling so much that you can't pack an arena with Bam Rodriguez in it. Man, like that. What was the name of Boots' last opponent? Man, that storyline. People really love that one. It was really up there with the Mega Powers breaking up. Right? It was really up there with the Montreal Screwjob, Bret Hart, HBK storyline. People, it's like let me just tell you right now. I don't know. That Maxie Hughes versus Camboza storyline, it's really up there with the creation of the NWO, right? Like it's what a storyline, what great vibes these are, and I get that was Top Rank, but still, right? Nothing like those storylines from Kriegel, talking about Big Baby's dog, right? For like 50, those storylines, people really gravitated towards them so much that ESPN still has toilet paper in their facilities, but not boxing. Because boxing is not even worth them wiping their ass with. Man, these storylines, they're really gravitating, Eddie. Honestly. You got to love these storylines that Matchroom has really put together. Wow. All right? Amazing stories.
That they're using at the moment, you need to kind of explain what they are and what it is. And this is what I talked about with regards to the league, the belts, the governing bodies. Everything's a bit...
Speaking of Bret Hart, you see him right there? Look at Bret Hart, right there in the corner. Bret the Hitman Hart. All right? I mean, these storylines that Eddie's creating, I mean, they're up there with like Bret Hart versus the King of Hearts, that brotherly, rivalry. It's really up there, right?
Mixed up and in the air. So it's like, and I'm sure they'll get to that eventually, but I said, previously, what are you actually watching? Just 3 fights.
Hey, Eddie, that's all we want, brother. We just want good fights. We're not watching a movie, bro. All right? We're not don't get me wrong, and there's nothing wrong with good organic stories, right? Good rivalries. But that's it. That's all we want. Like, what do you mean? Like, what does that even mean, bro? Did HBO put on did they create a storyline with Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward? Did they cut some promos or something? Like, what are you talking about, bro? They just fought and people they loved the fight and then they just fought again. And a third time. What are we doing? Plus, what story you've had? How long has Eddie Hearn been Matchroom Boxing has been around how long? And what compelling trilogy or what great what have they ever really manifested in the US, right? That has been grandeur. Like, he can't even point to any examples.
What are they, for a championship, or is this part of the league, or?
Oh yeah, because having every fight for a title, right? Because every single fight being for a world championship and oversaturating the market with belts, right? And then basically watering down the belts by having so many of them, having so many, interim belts and secondary belts and regulars and and franchises, and that has been remarkable for the sport of boxing in America. That's why every network is just rolling out the red carpet for boxing, right? That has worked wonderfully. Actually, maybe not every fight needs to be for a belt, Eddie. Maybe we just want to watch good fights. And as these guys keep fighting each other, right, and fighting each other, and then guess what? Storylines will build organically from their rivalries will build organically. That's the way it should happen. All right? When boxing was the number one sport in America, all right, back in the black and white days, right, they were creating storylines. You know what they did? They just had one champion. They had the top 10 contenders. They would all fight each other. And the fights were good. Promoters would put them on again. People would show up to the arenas. People would tune into TV. And that was that. That's all. It's not that complicated. You need a storyline. Oh, yeah, because, what are we doing? Did that $7 million storyline with Mike Garcia work out? How'd that storyline go?
Or is it just 3 fights? And the answer was, no, it's just 3 fights. Oh, right, okay. That's cool. But what are they fighting for? Well, nothing, actually. They just fight. It's a 10-round fight. Okay.
Oh, okay. Because if you put some WBA international belt or some bullshit like that on the undercard that looks just like the world title, that's totally what people are asking for. Right? Yeah, great job. By the way, fuck the bill. How the hell you're going to upgrade? You're going to promote the fucking offensive coordinator, bro. What the fuck are they doing? But anyway, I don't want to. I'm going to lose my shit if I start talking about the Buffalo Bills. So I'm just going to leave it at that. All right? Let me go over. I've been neglecting the comments, and I apologize about that. But shout out to you guys. Mr. T, how's it going, brother? Damn, for real, why is he trying to give credit without evidence? I don't know, bro. Credit and dislike at the same time. It's fucking insane. Is Dana stirring boxing up unintentionally because it's bringing out hatred more than ever? I mean, I don't know. I just think they just want to get into business. You know what I mean? Shout out to Chicano Prophet. All you guys, Easy BX. How much did the Cruz and Murataya make in the main event? I mean, that's a great question. I mean, you would think that's what I would have asked them. Whitey, how much are you paying? Since we're in the middle of pocket watching, right? How much you paying, Eddie? How much you paying? Check this out. I want you guys to check this out, okay? Check this out. Chapter according to boxing. Eddie Hearn caught lying again. Imagine hating this much just to be corrected and go nowhere with your attempts to cause rebellion. UFC fighters are not being paid more due to rights deal with Paramount Plus. Eddie is the new Leonard Ellerby. Wow. Gaethje earned $3 million and Patty made $1.5 million. Opetia's last paycheck was $900,000. For sure, some few megastars in boxing earn more than UFC champions, but on average, there's no such payment gap, and that's pertaining to this. All right? Let's listen to this.
In boxing, every man know that every lawyer in boxing, every manager in boxing, and maybe even every trainer, especially under the Muhammad Ali Act, knows exactly how much revenue is in a show.
Hey, Eddie, there's no Muhammad Ali Act in the UK or Monte Carlo or Germany or Mexico or just about everywhere else, but you do fight cards everywhere around the world. I don't see you talking about the Muhammad Ali Act anywhere else around the world. I just don't see it. But so what?
And if you're talking about, I mean, again, we're putting numbers out there, but if you're talking about
great segue, we're going to talk about Opetia next, by the way.
$50 million of revenue and the entire fight card getting $5 million.
Again, none of your business. Who are you to tell them about their business model and say that it's try to be this righteous person, right? When your business model is actually hurting more boxers because it hurts the sport of boxing, right? More on that in a moment.
Probably less. You're talking about 10% of your revenue going on to fighter pay. Flip it on boxing, you're talking more like...
Hey, Eddie, do you want to start a foundation, or do you want to I don't know, what are you proposing here? Do you want to start a union for UFC fighters? What are you going to do anything about it? What are we doing here, right? What you're asking? You're basically trying to start a rebellion, and for what? What? It's the dumbest shit I've heard in a while, bro. 70
or 80% of your revenue going into fighter pay, and by the way, for some people, 200%, and losing a fortune along the way.
Brilliant model. Has that worked? No. 200%. 200%. What are we doing?
Way. So, like you said, wow, what a situation where a fighter like that could be making a quarter of what Bam Rodriguez is making, and they've just sold out to T-Mobile and delivered one of the biggest audience.
Look at this, bro. Do you see how, he doesn't even realize he's doing it, but he's dimming the light of Bam Rodriguez. Okay? That's what he's doing. And that's a reflection of you as a promoter, by the way. That's your job. This is not what a boxing promoter is supposed to be doing. This ain't it.
Audiences for a boxing event, for a fight event on Paramount or whatever the press release said. So, listen, good luck to them.
I mean, they're making a quarter what Bam Rodriguez makes, and they're bigger stars. They're bigger names. They should be making 10 times what my guy Bam Rodriguez should be making. Oh, brilliant! What a great strategy, Eddie.
But we live in a different sport, and again, Jai Opetia will be making a lot more money than Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje made.
Does Eddie know that? No, he doesn't know that. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter.
At the weekend. That, if that doesn't ruffle the feathers of the UFC roster, like you said, maybe nothing ever will. But
internally,
man, I don't know about you, Eddie, but if I'm one of your fighters right now, especially Bam, I'm wondering, is this promoting me? Or is he dimming me? What is he doing? You would think Bam Rodriguez is a Golden Boy fighter, so he's kind of throwing shade a little bit or something like that. You would think that's what it is, but it's not what he's doing.
It will, but it will never.
Yeah, but the model's good, isn't it? So, where it means so much to be a UFC fighter. These guys will sign you sign a long.
Anyway, It means so much because they're the only they're the only MMA company, right? Where like that's where it's at, bro. That's their model. Stop hating, bro. They look like this is nuts. Anyway, speaking of Jai Opetia, right? Apparently, it said he made like 900,000 in one of his last fights. So much for the 150 grand that Paulie Malignaggi was throwing out that all the chismosos in Australia were telling him. Like, oh, I heard that he only made this much, that he only made that much, right? I heard, and look, by the way, this is what his fighters are making. Murataya made 577K. Cruz made 311K. Brilliant. Just brilliant, right? Do I care? Not really. Good for them. I'm good over here. Like, I don't give a shit what these fighters are making, bro. It's none of my business. If it was up to me, all this would be confidential. I don't think fans should know what fighters are making. I don't think other fighters should. Like, I don't think this shit should be public. I don't. Right now, Robert Garcia has dozens of fighters in a stable, and many of them aren't even signed to promoters. They're trying to get a promoter to sign them. They don't have gigs right now. There's fighters all over the world that don't have gigs. They're not getting fights, so they're not getting paid. They're like, you know what I mean? They're having to hold down jobs, and look, the longer they do that, they give up on the sport. Like, so the current model may be favorable to a few fighters, right? Paying out 200% and losing money, right? I guess makes all the sense in the world to this current boxing model, but it's not sustainable. It's not. Boxing's lucky the Saudi shoulder showed up. It's lucky. You're lucky that Turki Al-Sheikh was a big boxing fan. By the way, wasn't Turki going to die? Remember, like last year, 2 years ago, he said he was at the brink of dying. And so he wanted to make sure he got the heavyweight fight done before he died. Like, what happened to that? Like, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying he kind of like stopped talking about it. You know what I mean? He made it sound like he was about to die. Like, I'm just saying. But it's important to note that, guys, and when it comes to a guy like Jai Opetia, he signs with Zuffa, right? Immediately, people start talking about money. Oh, of course he signed Jai, said Paulie Malignaggi. Of course he signed him because he doesn't make any money. He's just a go-lucky guy. He doesn't know any better. Just short of calling him dumb, right? And it turns out it's not even true. It turns out he made 900,000, not 150,000. But again, I don't give a shit. Okay? Eddie Hearn comes out saying he lost money with Jai. He didn't make any money with Jai. He was bleeding money trying to promote Jai in Australia. And okay. So the current model of boxing apparently can afford Jai, apparently. They lose money with Jai. Didn't get paid for his first 18 fights. Felt he was getting underpaid. Matchroom got involved, and then even Riyadh season. And apparently Eddie didn't want to resign him. So Zuffa steps in, gives him a gig, gives him this opportunity. He's going to have guaranteed money. And instead of people saying, you know what, I'm a boxing fan, I'm glad Jai's going to go ahead and have his opportunity here. Instead, they're just shitting on him. Instead, people want to bitch. Instead, people want to complain. Instead, they want to gossip. And they want to go to Paulie Malignaggi, apparently, to tell him the cheese man, to tell him the juicy details about Jai Opetia, how he doesn't make any money. I still think Paulie made that whole story up, by the way. I don't think a bunch of people went up to him. This current model, all right, that you guys want to defend, like, oh man, I don't know about Jai going to Zuffa, man. How is he going to do unification? He wasn't doing any unifications. Zurdo was steering clear away from him. Golden Boy was not going to work to try to put the guy Zurdo in with Jai. They weren't going to do it. That just wasn't happening. They were based. I mean, if Zuffa doesn't come in and he's left with this Tasman, who knows what happens to Jai Opetaia next? He could fade away into obscurity for all we know. Because Matchroom didn't resign him. Zurdo say nobody knows you, and people acting like he doesn't exist, and then people they want to talk shit when he signs with Zuffa. And you have Eddie Hearn talking about rebellions happening in the UFC. They pay Jai Opetaia. What is it to you? Why won't you rebel, Eddie? Why did you cause rebellions with them and pay Jai then if you want to pay him so bad? Like, what's the point of this, bro? Jai Opetaia is the fighter that was done wrong by the sport of boxing. They didn't pay him for over a dozen fights. Underpaid him after that, apparently, according to the guys like Paulie Malignaggi. He wasn't getting his unification fights. He had to regain his IBF strap after already winning it because they stripped him in a bullshit move. From the sanctioning bodies to the promoters to even the media in Australia wouldn't even cover this guy. Wall-to-wall coverage about Tim Tszyu. I'm not even saying that's not rightfully so, but nothing on Jai Opetaia. He's the best fighter out of Australia, pound for pound. The media, his own peers, the fighters in his division, like Zurdo, the promoters, the sanctioning bodies, all of them gave him the finger. And then they want to act so concerned. The media hear about never covered Jai Opetaia. Now they can't stop talking about Jai Opetaia. All of a sudden they care about Jai Opetaia and they want to see Jai Opetaia's freedom papers. Right? Let me see your freedom. Let me see Jai. Let me see how much you're making. With Zuffa, you weren't concerned. You didn't give a fuck about Jai Opetaia before. Oh, but he's not gonna fight for unification now. Well, he wasn't fighting for unification already. How are we going to do that Zurdo fight? Zurdo didn't want to fight him anyway. What are we doing? So, are people worried about all the wrong things? Like it's like, if Dana came out and said we're not gonna have Jai fight for any of the sanctioning bodies, we want him to drop the IBF. He's gonna fight for the Zuffa belt. That's it. We're not going to recognize the sanctioning bodies whatsoever. You would be bitching, okay? You would be, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this and Jai, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know what I mean? But he comes out and says, yeah, we'll let him unify. He'll be able to fight for the other belts. He's still going to be part of Riyadh season. It's a co-partnership, yada, yada. Oh, you're still bitching. Oh my God, I can't believe he turned his back on his word that he wasn't going to let Jai Opetaia fight. Like, shut the fuck up already, right? Dana White's a promoter. You just heard Eddie Hearn bitch and moan and contradict himself like for the last 45 minutes I've been on the live, right? Newsflash, Dana's gonna not live up to his word every single time, right? Dana's gonna lie once in a while, okay? You know the line, yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth? That came from a boxing promoter named Bob Arum, right? Last year, De La Hoya said the only belt that matters is the ring belt. Now he's saying it doesn't matter. It's the actual sanctioning belts, right? These dudes flip on a dime all the fucking time. I think it's good that he's going to let Jai Opetaia fight for the belts. That's a good thing. Great. I'm happy about that. We all win. Who gives a shit? Seriously. All right? What should Zuffa boxing be? What should it represent? I'm going to leave this really simple, guys. I talked about this the other day. This is what Zuffa boxing should be. All day, every day. This is what it should be. As of right now, Zuffa boxing, right? Like I said, Jai Opetaia, perfect signing because of everything I just mentioned. Right? They need to be the promotional company that signs the fighters waiting by the phone that are too dangerous, that these other promoters like Eddie Hearn, like Oscar De La Hoya, like Bob Arum, don't want to put, okay, their hand-chosen fighters in the ring with, okay? Because in the sport of boxing, the way it works right now, these promoters go out and they scout, right? And they scout two types of fighters. They scout for their hand-picked golden gooses, let's call them, right? These are the guys that are going to be the faces of the promotional company, right? And then they also scout for their potential opponents, right? So that way they could matchmake them and do the smart thing, right? So that they start early, they put them in there with scrubs, and they put them in there with the right styles, and they also scout to know who are the guys to keep them away from, right? Right? They're going to consult with their matchmaker, with the managers, with the trainers, and they're going to find out how are we going to build this fighter up and do it intelligently, right? So we don't ruin their career early, so we can make money out of them in the future. And then you take the risk once it's worth it down the line. And you only fight those dangerous fighters when you have to, right? That is the model. Like that, point blank, there's going to be some little variance here and there, but that's the model. That is the boxing model in a nutshell. Once in a while, they get it wrong. Marcos Maidana, which is supposed to be another opponent for Virgil Ortiz, they got that one wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Right? They thought it was going to be easy pickings for Victor Ortiz. They got it wrong. They knew they got it wrong before the fight when Mr. Honda, a promoter from Japan, asked Robert Garcia, yo, what are you doing putting that guy in the ring with your young star? Oh, that wasn't the plan. Well, we know what happened in that fight. So those guys are out there. So Zuffa needs to make it a point to not build fighters, but to actively look for the fighters that are being avoided, the outcast, right? Those fighters, the ones that get told, what do you bring to the table? Nobody knows who you are, right? While they fight some other scrub, right? The guys that are told, we don't want to make that fight right now. It's way down the line. It could be a bigger fight in the future when it's worth more money. I don't want to fight you for just this amount of money right now. Let's build up the fight. In a couple of years, we could fight for more money in the future, right? The guys that get told that, right? The ones waiting by the phone, right? Those guys, sign those guys. Those are the guys you need to sign. Those are the guys you need to get a hold of. Expand it, bro. There's punchers in Colombia and Venezuela. There's unorthodox fighters that are exciting to watch in places like Brazil. There's talents in, even in Spain and Argentina. Go to Central America where guys are fighting for nothing. Find somebody there. Go to, you could go to Eastern Europe. Go to the Eastern Bloc. The old Soviet Union. You're going to find fighters there. They're out there. And yes, even here in the good old US of A, they're out there. And Mexico has an abundance of fighters that are exciting to watch. That you could put on undercards. They're going to put on great fights for you. They're out there. Oh, they're out there. And all these promoters don't want them, obviously. You know why they don't want them? Because in their eyes, these guys are not going to draw money. They're from a poor country. They're not going to fill up arenas here, right? You need to sign those guys. That's who you need to sign. And make it a point to say that. Make it a point. Yeah, these are the dudes. He tried to get a fight with the Loya's fighter. They don't want to put him in there with a guy. And that's what you do. And eventually you're going to have your Zuffa champion and all that. You know what's going to happen in the future? And I told this story the other day. I'll retell it again. Right? These sanctioning bodies, right now, the established championship belts, everyone looks at them and they say, no, those are the champions, right? And they are. All right? But a day's going to come where a Zuffa champion is going to step in the ring with some WBC champion or some unified champion or some undisputed champion, right? And the inevitable is going to happen at some point. Maybe not the first time it happens, but eventually the Zuffa champion is going to beat one of those champions. And the whole perspective is going to change. Everybody's world's going to be turned upside down, right? You know why it's inevitable that will happen? Well, there's a reason those guys I'm talking about don't get the call to fight these golden gooses. They don't get the call to fight the dudes that they want to draw money with. There's a reason they don't do that, right? And the law of nature in the long run will self-correct here, right? In the current model, they have their little prospects and their chosen ones that they protect, that they match make to make look good, right? Take limited risks. They even keep them inactive. And then, they win world titles. They finally take risks down the line. I'm not saying they're not good fighters, but everything is to their favor. The sanctioning bodies favor those fighters because those fighters are there for a reason. They're handpicked for a reason. Because in the eyes of those promoters, they draw money and you know what I mean? Like that means a higher percentage of money for them when they collect sanctioning body fees. Okay? So, but if you do it the other way is really more of survival of the fittest. Right? It's the dumb way of doing it. It's you don't do that because you're not going to build stars that way. But you know what? If you sign hundreds of fighters, someone's going to come out on top. Someone's going to come out the alpha dog. It's going to happen. That's the law of nature. And if you keep that process, eventually, what happened to Victor Ortiz against Marcos Maidana is going to happen. What happened to Marco Antonio Barrera when he stepped in the ring with Pacquiao, who they thought was a slam dunk, it's going to eventually happen. Right? This is the same boxing industry that didn't think there was any money in Terrence Crawford. Nobody was signing him. It wasn't until Timothy Bradley sparred him and convinced Top Rank to sign him. And even then, my God, did they try to bury him. Well, what you need to do is go out of your way. Just like Timothy Bradley sparred Terrence Crawford and discovered him that way. Well, he's not the only guy that ever sparred him, right? You need to go to the heart and soul. Go to these gyms. Talk to trainers like Robert Garcia. Talk to all these trainers, their peers. You talk to them, right? And you'll find out, who are the dogs here? Who are the dudes that nobody wants to fight? The promoters don't want to sign because they don't think there's any money in them. And you sign those guys. That's what you do. That's what you do. I want them to throw Walsh in there with some unknown that destroys them. I want that to happen. Because that will happen if they do what I'm telling them. It will happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, that will turn the whole boxing world upside down, and it will give paydays and opportunities to fighters that are otherwise being completely avoided and shut out. The good old saying, nobody ducks fighters, they're just non-ticket sellers, right? Just sign those guys. Sign them. Just sign them. Do it. Just do it. I'm telling you. And the guys that they do pick them. And allow those guys to use them as cotton fodder instead of the names on this side. I'm telling you right now, people will notice that you keep them active and you use the law of the jungle, survival of the fittest, and you will build better fighters in the long run. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen by next year, but in the long run, you will build better fighters. You will end up with fighters that all these promoters like De La Hoya who condescendingly say things like, it's my job to find these fighters. I already have all the great fighters. Who's really out there? Trust me. Believe me. They're out there. All right? There's tough fighters. Unknown, but they're out there in Ghana with fucking granite chins. They're out there. Go to every continent. From the Sahara Desert, right? To the Chihuahua Desert. In Australia, they got fighters that are not signed. Like they're out. I'm telling you right now, they're out there. Oh, yeah. In the words of Timothy Bradley, oh, yeah. All right? So, hey, that's all I'm saying. You're supposed to be starting those broadcasts with the guys we're featuring tonight. None of these promoters want to put their fighters in the ring in there with them, right? That's what he should be doing. He doesn't draw any money. Sign those guys. That's why Opetia, the best cruiserweight in the world, is the perfect signing. A fighter's fighter. How could a fight fan not be a fan of Opetia? He just wants to fight the best. Who do you want to fight? All of them. Do you have a name? You pick them. I'll get in the ring with them. I want to unify. I want to fight that guy because they say he's the best. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight that guy. They're the champions. Put him in the ring with me. That's what I want. And who gives a fuck about all the people talking about money? And who gives a fuck? Those people don't even spend money in the sport. They don't even buy pay-per-views. They don't generate any money for the sport themselves. Fuck them. Who cares? Right? Instead of worrying about Jai's money, they should be worrying about their money. What they should be worried about. Well, that's it. It's D-Style. If you just came in, go to the start of the show. Hit that like button. Share this video on social media platform. Feel free to tag me at D-Style Boxing. Instagram at D-Style_boxing. Thank you for your time. And I'm out of here. Peace.